In this video, we will be asking the question, is it cool to use other people's music in your YouTube videos? Welcome to Creative Studio Live, episode 2. My name is Pete from Studio Live today, and I'm joined once again by Mike from Creative Source. How are you, Mike?
I'm all ready to go. I've got the ukulele today. We haven't got any theme music yet, folks. If you've got any ideas about theme music, give them to us.
I love that, and I love that Mike sprung that on me without any warning whatsoever.
Yeah.
This is Creative Studio Live. We've got a name. If you like it, great. If you don't, I'm very sorry, but it's what we're going with for now. So yes, we are talking all things. We're talking all things music, all things YouTube, all things whether you can use other people's music. Because let's just say it's a bit of a hot button topic at the moment. There's some copyright strikes. There's some things going around. But before we do that, we're just going to spend 1 minute letting you know a little bit about what's been happening in our worlds in the last week. So, Mike, how are things going over at Creative Source?
Oh my God. Did I let people know I'm here in Perth in Australia? Pete's in Adelaide. And it's been hot and it's been a hot week. And I have been so busy making videos, and most of them didn't go out because they failed terribly. But one thing I am quite excited about, because last time I mentioned that I'd made a video testing 3 microphones, a blind test.
Yep.
And just after this show tonight, I'll be releasing a video revealing which microphones were which and which ones you guys or anyone who was watching voted the best. So I'm pretty excited about that one going out. There's going to be a surprise in there.
I'm excited too, because I did watch that original one and I thought, yeah, this could help me decide my next microphone choice, because I'm still using the Samson CO1, which I love, and I just can't give up. It's like my security blanket, so I've been using that. Well, I'll be looking forward to that video coming out very shortly. And what's been happening in my world? Well, a lot of things. I started another new series on my channel this week. I started a GarageBand creator series, so I interviewed the very talented Patrick Moonbird on his new album that's come out. And I've been working on a song in GarageBand as well. So I've been out and about doing my usual thing of recording and mixing, and I'm about to master and release a new single. So that's all pretty exciting, and that's all happening over on Studio Live today. So
are you telling me you can even master on an iPhone? Some people say you shouldn't.
Some people say you shouldn't. Yes, yeah. No, Mike's referring to some feedback that I've been given lately, that from some folks who've told me that you can't. And you know what? Whenever someone tells me I can't do something, it makes me want to do it even more. So there you go.
Don't pick your nose.
Exactly. Welcome to those who are here live. If you didn't know, we're doing this live every Thursday night here for us here in Australia, which makes it the very convenient time of, I think, Thursday early morning in the US, and about lunchtime for those in the UK and Europe. So welcome aboard for everyone that's here live. If you're not, you're watching on the replay, we'd love to hear what you think about this topic as well. So don't feel left out. You can throw your comments down below. But for the folks here live, Mike and I are going to probably go on about a 10-minute rant, and then we'll circle back and have a look at what you folks have to say. So we'd love your opinion on this. But why don't you kick us off here, Mike, and let's get started talking about this issue, because it's a pretty hot topic at the moment. Why don't you give us a bit of a summary of what's been going on?
I'll try and do a quick recap. So several big YouTubers, and I'm talking much bigger than us, Pete. Much bigger than us. We're talking Rick Beato. I can't remember the name of the others. Glenn Fricker is his name or something. I can't remember his name. And a few others. And they feel they've been kind of persecuted recently. And they've been persecuted by the big music publishing companies, etc. I can say that. And basically, a lot of their videos are either, they get copyright strikes all the time. I mean, they expect that, but some of them are starting to be blocked. And that's if they're, now the situations this can happen is if they're playing obviously the original track. It's a big no-no, isn't it? But sometimes I think there's been cases where people have just hummed a tune, right? And they've got a copyright strike, or the video's been blocked. So they've been crying foul over this over the last couple of weeks. And at first, I was kind of really in their court. I was thinking, yeah, the big bad record companies. and I've heard some different opinions since then. But before, I'm going to hand back to you. But I just want to make one point here. there's really two things here which I think people conflate a lot. I like the word conflate, by the way. It makes me sound intelligent.
I love it.
So there is, oh, sorry, microphone. There is the legal question, and more what I see people talking about, which is a kind of a moral question. And those two things are not the same two things at all.
Yes.
So, Pete, what's your legal advice on this?
My legal advice on this is to don't ask legal advice from a YouTuber. But no, my opinion and my feel on this. So yeah, I was exactly the same. So the first sort of notion I got of this was Rick Beato. So he put a big video out about people blocking, and I meant to put these in the description. I'll put them in there after the show so you can check out the videos we're talking about in this one. But Rick Beato talked about the fact that a lot of his videos are starting to be blocked. Now, Rick, if you don't know, does a lot of videos where he does a great series where it's like, why is this song good? So I watched one the other day, which was Weezer song Hash Pipe. Why is this song good? So he plays parts of it, and he gets the multi-tracks, and he plays individual tracks, and that's very cool. And for me, as a music fan, I enjoy watching that and listening to that. Now, he was putting those out. Now, the thing to consider with this is, why are these guys and girls, but mostly guys, why are they so upset about this? Well, it's because they make revenue. So we've got to break it down and say that it's actually their livelihood. So when you put a video on YouTube, you can choose to monetize it. And what these guys are doing is that they're putting videos out, they're putting ads on the videos, they're getting revenue from those ads. Now, what's happening at the moment is that the record companies, the BMG, the UMG, Universal, the songwriters, songwriting groups, they're actually starting to claim and say, you're using our client, you're using the musicians' work, and then you're not allowed to do that. So you're in breach of copyright. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that revenue that you've been generating, and we're going to keep it, because that's our artist and that's what we do. We protect our artist, and you're using their music without their permission, and it's not fair use, which we'll talk about. I'm sure we'll get into fair use. So they're doing that. That's sort of phase one. That's the cool way, is not getting any money. The even less cool way is that they're blocking the video completely. So if a musician, or more likely their label, their brand, their manager, wants to stop you from using that in a video, what they can do is actually block that. And I've had this happen infrequently, but a couple of times, where I've had a song that's a video that's out there, it's using a song, I didn't even really think about it, and then I get this sort of a takedown notice saying, we're now going to block this from being viewed in either some countries, or we're going to block this worldwide. So this is why they're upset. And I can see both sides of this argument, and people are going to accuse me of sitting on the fence here, but yeah, that is why the as you said, bigger YouTubers are a lot less happy than what we are. But there's two things at play here. There's the automated content ID, and then there's the manual flagging that's going on, which I'll talk about in a minute. But I'll hand back to you, because I've been ranting for about 3 minutes.
Well, so the thing about, we'll talk about Rick in particular, because Valiant FM has brought up that Rick's had a rough deal. The thing about Rick's Beato's videos, and he's been making some for a time now. I'm trying to think of the title of them, but it's just like, what makes this song great?
Yep.
And I've watched loads of them. They're awesome videos. He does a great breakdown of the musical and the performance content of the song. Very, very good. But a long time ago, or long time ago, a few months ago, it's a long time ago in YouTube, I remember him mentioning that there's no way that he could monetize his videos, and he started to talk a lot about joining his, I don't know what kind of thing he has, a thing you can join on his site, etc. And he pushes that. I don't think he even attempts to monetize those videos at all. I think what's really got him going is the blocking, the taking down of the video at all. Now, going back to the legal thing, I think that if anyone tells you they're a legal expert in this, you should be careful. In fact, I think there's a rule that if someone says they're a legal expert, it actually disqualifies them from being a legal expert in these matters. So, but but a guy that I watch, Deer Creek Audio, he's got a small channel, but I really enjoy his channel, because nothing wrong with small channels, folks.
Absolutely.
And he made the point, I guess, that he found it a little bit naive of these guys who have been around for years and years, that they would think they could at all get away with using other people's music for commercial purposes. Let's not forget.
Yeah.
You know, as you say, these have been. Now, I don't know enough about the legal side because they argue that there is a fair use. I don't know if anyone in who's watching wants to say something in the comments about this, but
Yeah.
there is apparently the idea of a fair use policy where if you were going to use it for, say, educational purposes or something like that, that you could use that music. The problem is that when you put a counterclaim back to YouTube, apparently you're just really asking whoever blocked it to just be nice, right?
Yeah.
There's no real process, you know, that could sort of make use of the law in any way to say, hey, this is covered under fair use. It's just, could I please not have this blocked? And they go, yeah.
Yeah, nah, and that's a really valid point there, and it's probably important to remember that there's three players. Well, there's a bunch of players in this, but really the players apart from the YouTube content creator, there's the actual musician or the artist that's involved. There's YouTube, who are sitting right in the middle of that, owned by Google. Don't forget, corporate, want to make money. And then there's the artist. Sorry, there's the brand or the label or the music group. So what is basically happening here is this YouTube. Like, a lot of people are saying YouTube, and I agree, YouTube need a better way to manage and deal with this, because at the moment, I could go to a creative source video and say, I claim the music of that thing that Mike just played, and it's then up to you to dispute that claim back to me. And again, you'd have to go through a bunch of red tape, and it could take like 30 days before you'd even get your video back. I could say, no, block it, it's mine. The onus of proof is on you to prove that you actually do own that content. And I think that's kind of crazy. But that being said, YouTube don't want to be in this business, and we've seen with the Article 13, is it, over in the EU, that all the social media companies don't want to be in this business. They want anyone to be able to post anything as long as they can make money from it, as long as they can monetize that and sell ads on that video. So they would be not happy with this, because Rick Beato's got, what, 600,000 subscribers, I think, on his channel. And he gets 50, 100, 500,000 views on some of his videos. So that's generating a lot of income for YouTube. So when Universal or Warner come along and say, hey, we're blocking this video, then YouTube are losing ad revenue on that, because they were advertising on those videos. And if they're suddenly not, then they're not. So there's kind of the two things. The creators are either losing their money if they're using, like you say, they're using a song and it's fair use, or they think it's fair use. And the other one, you sent me a video as well about guitar tutorials. So it's not really just when you're playing songs, because I think hopefully we can agree, and again, you could be the devil's advocate here if you don't, but if I just get an entire recording of an Eagles song, and then I put that on my YouTube channel and I just say, here is a video of an Eagles song, that should 100% not be allowed. Like, that's not I'm not adding any value. I'm not using it for anything else. Well, that's just
especially because it's the Eagles. I mean, I've upset a whole bunch of people now, haven't I? But
you've upset the Eagles fan. I always upset the Mac fans because I don't use a Mac. But we won't go down that path. But yeah, if you were repurposing that just to play someone's music, then that's not cool. But what a lot of these channels are saying is that we're teaching people to play guitar. We're teaching people to play these licks. If they play this song and they're like, hey, that's a cool song, what are they likely to do? Well, they're likely to go and check out that song and stream it or buy it or whatever. And then Rick's making the same point, and other people are making the same point, that if we break it down to what are these, so the blocking's the one that does my head in, because I don't really understand that. If they want to take any money from that and push it back to the artist, well, that's cash that artist is not getting right now, and that's exposure that artist is not getting right now. If you are the Eagles, how many people under 40 are listening to the Eagles right now anyway? Whereas if they're getting, they should be begging for any publicity.
How many people over 40 are listening to the Eagles?
Well, I'm exactly 40, so I'm
hey, look, I'm 51 and the Eagles are old for me. But the thing is, it's a really good point. I mean, you know, you wonder how much money they think they're losing by some guitar tuition guy playing a few bars of, you know, an Eagles song. It's sort of a bit bizarre. It reeks not of an artist doing it, but a pen pusher. You know, Vachi's just shouted out that he loves the Eagles. Commiserations to you, Recording Studio 9. This is where it gets a little bit crazy, isn't it? You know, this is why I say this is a moral and an illegal argument. They're quite different, because you know, I think morally everyone goes, well, surely you should be able to play a few bars of a song to show how to play it, you know, to teach a guitar technique. But a legal expert might say, yeah, but
Yeah.
still, technically,
Yeah.
you know, and
And it's exactly the case. And I think, like you said, you summed it up well by saying there's the legal side, there's the moral side of this. And the argument there, and again, the way that I look at this, and I'm kind of trying to come to a conclusion, because I know I sit on the fence a lot, but my conclusion of this is that it's the it's the manual work that's being done by these music groups that's bugging me. So to break that down, if you're not aware of how YouTube works and how it identifies these, so YouTube has a system called Content ID, and Content ID is a database of millions of songs. And what Content ID does is every time Mike or me or anyone releases a video, Content ID will scan that video, and if it picks up, if it actually identifies using its robots and its magic voodoo that I don't understand, if it picks up that that has a match, it will say Content ID match to this song, and then it will flag that. And depending on whether that artist, or more likely that label, has said that's okay for people to use, but we're going to take the money, or that's not okay at all to use, we want to block it, your video gets blocked or your revenue gets pushed to that music group. The concerning thing that's happening now, and the reason that people like Rick Beato and others are concerned or very annoyed by this, is that it seems to be manual now. So these are videos that have been out for 3, 4, 5 years, and they're doing it in batches. So the videos I've been watching is that Universal, they've get 10 emails, and they're all from UMG, and they're all saying this video, this video, this video, this video. These have all been flagged as using our content. So it's like they've gone and said, okay, who are the big YouTubers that are potentially using our music? Who can we therefore get either revenue from or block from using our music? So it's like you say, it reeks of the group going to a lawyer and saying, how do we do this? And they're like, okay, you do this, and then paying some intern probably to go in and watch 1,000 YouTube. What a great job that would be, just quietly. If you're an intern, like, all you have to do is watch YouTube all day, and if they mention this band, then you have to put in this Content ID claim.
Well, if you can sleep at night, Pete, that is. I just want to interject your little rant.
Yeah, go for it.
With something that's coming up in the comments here. Now, Jade had said this is a byproduct of the low-income streaming era, and I think that's a really interesting point, because obviously these older artists like the Eagles, let's keep on the Eagles, shall we? These older artists, you know, we used to getting revenue from, you know, record sales. You remember records, folks, and you know, it's like their publishing companies perhaps haven't moved with the times, because, you know, everyone knows now, if you know, I saw an article the other day, if you had 1.5 million streams on, oh my God, what's the streaming thing I'm thinking of? Whatever it is, Spotify. Yes, thank you. If you, yeah, I'm not an old guy. I don't know this. So if you had 1.5 million streams on Spotify, you know, you get paid pennies for that, right? And then someone was saying, oh, we should boycott Spotify. But as someone rightly said, no, this is a great promotional tool. This is what's going to get people along to your gigs, and you're going to sell your merchandise and so on and so forth. So we're talking about a new model of making money for musicians. There's an argument to say that music should just be free anyway now. What the hell? In the sense of, you know, why pay per play or what have you, because it's really about getting people to know your brand and get along to live concerts, etc. And I think that Jade's probably correct in this way. This is sort of a byproduct of this, because apparently, according to Rick, I think it was, in one of his videos, was saying that the newer bands don't really care about this. It's all the old guys that are copying them.
It is, yeah. It's all the old bands, and it's all the bands that are with the big music groups. Independents couldn't care less. And I thought about this, because I thought, let's put the hat on the other side, or the shoe on the other foot, or whatever analogy you want to use. If there's a Pete Johns track that someone grabs, and let's just say, if they did what I said before, if they just put my videos directly back up with my lyrics and my words and my music and don't change a thing, then yeah, I'd probably say, hey, that's not cool. If they want to do a cover of my song, I'd be chuffed. Like, someone wants to play my music, they want to put my music behind their video. Well, Content ID, the big bad wolf, might come in and flag it, but I'm not going to go out of my way to do that. And, you know, the argument could be, well, you know, what if I was used to making a lot of cash from the old world, and in the new world I wasn't, and then I saw someone like a Rick Beato benefiting and profiting and being more popular than I am using my music, you'd get a bit of a bug up your butt, wouldn't you? You'd go, actually, that's not cool, Rick. How about you don't use our music? And that's where the single-mindedness of blocking, I don't get. Like, take the revenue. Like, seriously, let them play the music, take the revenue. But yeah, I think that Jade's hit the nail on the head there, that it's the old world, and we hear this a lot in new music. And again, I don't want it to draw a line down the middle and say here's the old people doing the old way and here's new music doing the new way, but it's kind of reality now, and I don't know that we're ever going back. That's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, there's some other comments coming up here which I reckon are really important. Firstly, I want to see it. Goran Larson, is that the correct pronunciation? I hope so. Sounds European. Hi to Europe. You know, get creative and do your own thing. I think this is something which this is the only personal sort of way it's affected me. And, you know, I've got a tiny fledgling channel, and I think in a couple of videos, I naively thought if I just play a few seconds of a copyrighted song, it should be fine, because I'd heard that that rumor. I think that's not correct. And I haven't got any copyright strikes yet or anything like that, but I'm sure they will come if my channel gets bigger and someone's going to notice me. But the point about that is I decided, you know what, it's not worth the hassle. If I'm going to demonstrate how to use a virtual instrument, or the microphones, for example, that I was talking about earlier that I did a blind test on, I'm just going to write or create my own piece of music to do that. That was a good example, actually. The 3 microphones I did about 2 or 3 days before we made the video. I thought, oh, crap, what are we actually going to sing? And I just wrote down literally 2 verses of lyrics just for the demonstration, and a very simple melody and a chord progression. And that's what we did. And I must say I feel much better about doing it that way. And I feel, yeah, just happier about that anyway, because I know that I'm not treading on anyone's toes, and it keeps the creative juices flowing, you know, which is a good thing.
Exactly, and I guess that's probably the way I've gone, and folks that have watched this channel for a while know that I don't use anyone else's music ever. And in fact, the only time I got in trouble was when I used my own other band's music. So I released a song under the name Fear Cut, and I released it through a Muse, an online streaming service, and then I did a lyric video on my channel as Pete Johns, and it said, "You are breaching the copyright of Fear Cut, and they will be taking all your revenue." And I'm like, beauty, that's me. I'm fine with that. So that's my little brush with the whole content ID situation. But yeah, it does reek of just the misunderstanding of exactly how the world works now. And like I said, the short-sightedness of saying, well, we're going to block this and we're going to stop people from using this. I'm probably still 60-40, because I still think that, again, the advice for someone that is a guitar instruction channel, or that is a music channel, or creating yourself, is kind of use your own stuff. And interestingly enough, I did a video just yesterday about using Apple Loops. So because I use GarageBand, Apple Loops are included with GarageBand and with Logic. And Apple say, yep, go your hardest, 100% royalty free, just go for it. So you can use those, but what they do say is make sure that you change them. And weirdly, there's this thing now where so many artists, so many producers have just used like 4 Apple Loops and then just wrapped over the top of those and released those as songs, that the Apple Loops aren't the ones that are the problem, but people are now claiming like 4 Apple Loops together as their song, because that's what they've done. So again, if you inject enough of your own self and your own creative energy into things and change things enough, then you're going to be fine. But it's really an incentive to be, I guess, more original and more creative, like you are at Creative Source. There you go.
I mean, I guess the problem with that is, just sorry to recap on an old point, is that if someone then, you know, makes a claim that those Apple Loops are theirs, or they originally created them, and you don't have a right to use them, if they say that and your video gets either removed or you get a copyright strike, it seems as though the process to counterclaim is not very good. And an interesting example of that was, I was watching a guy, I can't remember his name. We'll put up some links later on this, because I had the links. But what he was saying is that he did use some copyrighted music within his video, which he kind of knew was going to get a copyright strike. Then the big music publishing company came along and made a claim on it, but for the wrong song, not the song he was using at all, right? And he was saying when he sort of tried to counterclaim, there was no place within the the check boxes or what have you to say no, that song's not even in this video. So YouTube probably need to sort it out a little bit.
Yeah,
They're not going to listen to us.
Probably not, but yeah, again, if enough people, well, no, I was about to say if enough people say a thing, yeah, still probably not. But let's not be defeatist about it too much. It's an interesting conversation to have anyway, and it'll probably just change, like the Article 13 thing. It'll probably just change the way things will go. But you know what? The only thing, and I've actually got a song I'm working on at the moment, that's the only thing that stays the same is that things will change. So if you want stability and you want things to always be the same, yeah, it's not going to happen in music or technology. And they're the two things that we center our worlds around. So social media is moving and continuing to change. And yeah, it's interesting what you mentioned there. Jade just mentioned in the chat here that she had a similar issue where there was just a random made up French band that was claiming on her music. And then she claimed and counterclaimed, and they just went away because they were doing it. So I guess the argument there is don't just take it lying down if it is actually wrong. There's no harm in going through the process, and hey, you'll have some fun. It'll be good. So we are rapidly approaching. I knew that we gave ourselves 30 minutes to chat about this topic, and we're 26 minutes in here, Mike. So if you would like to talk some parting thoughts here and anything that you want to finish up on here before we end the show and ask for any other feedback.
My parting thoughts would be always legally, seek advice. Don't take advice from people like us because we really have we're just, regurgitating rumors about things in honesty. So definitely get, if you're unsure about something you've done or you're going to use, then make sure that you get proper advice, not from us. Or, I guess you could take the risk, but the risk is that you could put a lot of work into making videos, etc. And if you're hoping for a financial reward from that, you may get absolutely zero. So that's your risk.
That is absolutely it. And I guess the other side of that is if you want to just make a career out of covering Kanye West songs and putting those on YouTube, then you've got other problems. But no, you can do that at your own risk. And hey, if financial gain and if you're not caring about any of these things anyway, that's probably the thing to keep in mind, that this is, it does come down to a money thing, like most things, unfortunately, that yeah, you can't have just creative stuff. It does end up being a financial thing as well. So yeah, just be careful out there. The more you know, and I think the reason we wanted to do this video was to give a little bit of an insight and education and hopefully help folks out, at least understand why this is happening, why these big YouTubers are actually disappointed by it, to say the least, and yeah, what some of the repercussions and things that could be happening. So it'll be interesting. Watch this space. But that is where we're going to wrap it up here for this week. So I wanted to thank the folks that have been here on the live stream. If you did get some value out of this, or you enjoyed seeing a couple of old dudes chat about something, if you drop a like there, if you'd like to subscribe to my channel or to Mike's channels, those are linked down in the description as well. And yeah, if you've got ideas for topics for future shows, I'm sure we would love to hear those, because yeah, we've got a lot of ideas going through our heads, but we'd love to hear your ideas as well. Mike, your final parting words. I'll ask you again, even though I just did that.
Well, I was about to hum the chorus to Hotel California, but I just realized whatever views we get from this may come to nothing, so I won't do that. But I've put it in people's heads by mentioning it, haven't I? So they've thought their dirty thoughts about Hotel California, and yeah, go on, see if you can not hum it now.
Exactly. Yeah. What I've got in my head is the Wayne's World theme with the "No Stairway Denied," where they can't play Stairway to Heaven. So yeah, if you can, you'll either have Stairway to Heaven or Hotel California to go to bed with or to wake up with, depending where you are in the world. But thanks again to you, Mike. It's been a pleasure as always, catching up and chatting. I will see you all next week here on Creative Studio Live. Thanks, folks.